Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to sift through, well, a pretty big stack of sources and pull out the absolute essentials for you. Today, we're jumping into artificial intelligence in education. It's a huge topic, really transformative, and we're focusing particularly on Microsoft's approach. Think of this as your shortcut. We want you to walk away really understanding how generative AI is changing learning and teaching. We'll pull out the key bits, maybe some surprising things, and give you strategies for using it well, responsibly. Our main guide today is the Microsoft Education AI Toolkit. It's packed with info for education leaders trying to figure out this whole AI journey. I was looking through it and wow, there's this sense of massive potential, right? This idea that generative AI could fundamentally reshape things. What's the first big aha moment for you looking at this material?
What really jumps out at me is that it's not just about the cool tech, what AI can do. It's the why behind it. Microsoft seems deeply committed to grounding this in their mission empowering people, making sure these tools are accessible, inclusive, and crucially trustworthy.
Trustworthy, yeah.
That focus on responsible AI isn't an afterthought. It feels like the core foundation. That's the real insight for me. It's how they build trust to unlock AI's potential in schools.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, so let's maybe back up a tiny bit. For anyone needing a quick definition, what exactly is artificial intelligence?
Sure. Basically, AI is when a computer or a machine can do tasks that normally, seem to require human intelligence. Things like making predictions, recommending stuff, translating languages, understanding speech. It's all about using data to perform these kinds of smart tasks.
Right. And within AI, the toolkit highlights some specific terms like generative AI or Gen AI. That's the kind that actually creates new things, yeah.
Exactly. It's not just analyzing data, it's producing content. Think chatbots writing text, or tools making code, or even those systems that generate images or audio from, like a text description.
And behind a lot of that are large language models, LLMs.
These are the engines, really. They're AI models trained on absolutely massive amounts of textbooks, articles, websites to understand and generate human-like language.
But then there are also small language models, SLMs. What's the deal with those?
Well, they're kind of the opposite in scale. They're much more compact, designed for language, coding, basic math, but needing way fewer resources.
They're more efficient.
Exactly. And that's huge for education. They can often run locally, like on a device, which is better for privacy and doesn't need a massive server infrastructure, makes AI more accessible.
Okay, that's key. But there's also a term we need to be careful about, fabrication.
Yes, absolutely. It's sometimes called hallucination. It's when these language models, especially LLMs, generate answers that sound plausible but are actually wrong or, just don't make sense.
You can't just blindly trust the output.
Never. Human oversight is still critical. You always need to check the facts.
It feels so new, but AI actually has a history, right? Going back to the 50s.
Oh, yeah. People like Alan Turing were asking these questions way back. Then there was the Dartmouth Conference in '54, kind of the official kickoff for AI research.
And since then, it's been decades of progress, machine learning, neural networks, natural language processing.
Right. And now it's kind of woven into so many things we use daily. Virtual assistants, those recommendation engines on streaming sites, translation apps. It's everywhere.
And you were saying the small models, the SLMs, are particularly good for schools.
Yeah, because of that efficiency. Less computing power needed means schools with, let's say, tighter budgets or less IT infrastructure can still integrate AI. It helps level the playing field a bit, supporting personalized learning or admin tasks without needing a huge tech overhaul. That's a really significant benefit for equity.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense for access. So how is Microsoft packaging this up for schools? They use the term co-pilots, like helpers.
Yeah, that's the framing. Assistants to boost productivity and creativity.
Let's start with maybe the most general one, Copilot Chat.
Right. Think of it as your everyday AI chat assistant. You can use it in a web browser, on your phone.
And importantly, it's free for education users' schools. Students 13 plus with their school login.
Yes, and that comes with enterprise-level data protection and copyright protection, which is a big deal for schools.
What would you use it for? Research.
Sure, research, summarizing documents. You can even use it to summarize the AI toolkit itself, or, drafting things like FAQs, updating school policies, outlining meeting agendas, quick everyday tasks.
So it's a general purpose helper. But then there's Microsoft 365 Copilot. That sounds more integrated.
Exactly. This one lives inside the Microsoft 365 apps you already use: Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, Teams.
Ah, okay. So what can it do in those apps?
Well, imagine you're in Excel. It could help analyze that spreadsheet of school devices. In Outlook, maybe translate support tickets from parents. In Teams, it could summarize a meeting a student missed.
Or draft emails, create teaching resources.
Yep. Auto-drafting emails to families, creating a rubric based on your lesson plan in Word. It's about embedding that AI help right where you're working.
The toolkit mentions a teacher using it to create examples for math concepts, like the Pythagorean theorem, but tailored to student interests, like basketball or video games.
Yep, that's a great example of making learning more relevant and engaging, saving the teacher time from having to brainstorm all those specific examples themselves.
Okay, so that covers productivity. What about tools directly aimed at student learning? You mentioned learning accelerators.
Right. These are more focused tools like Reading Coach, Search Coach, Math Coach, Speaker Coach, and Reflect.
So specific skills?
Yeah, exactly. Literacy, math, social emotional learning, public speaking, information literacy. They offer personalized practice, feedback, exercises.
And these are included at no extra cost.
That's right. Available for all educators, staff, and students. It helps make that kind of personalized support much more scalable than, say, one-on-one tutoring for everyone.
That's potentially huge. Okay, what about coding? Computer science is big.
For that, there's GitHub Copilot. It's an AI assistant specifically for writing code.
Also free for educators and students.
Yes, for verified educators and students 13 and up. It's like having a coding partner. It can suggest code, help find bugs in complex programs, even help students write documentation for their code.
Wow, like a pair programmer. Okay, so lots of tools for learning and productivity. But security is always a massive concern for schools. How does the toolkit address the IT side?
Good question. That's where Security Copilot fits in. It's specifically for the security teams. It's an AI tool that helps IT staff manage security threats more efficiently. They can ask it questions in natural language to investigate incidents, hunt for threats, get security intelligence, and check their overall security posture.
So it's an AI assistant for the defenders, basically.
Yeah, you could say that, yeah. Helping them stay ahead of threats.
What if a school wants to build its own AI tool, something really specific to their needs?
There are options for that, too. First, there's Copilot Studio. It's described as a low-code platform.
Low-code, meaning you don't need to be an expert programmer.
Right. It lets users build and customize their own copilots using more natural language instructions. The example given is creating an AI study assistant for university students, available anytime.
So empowering schools to create tailored AI solutions.
Precisely. And for even deeper customization, using a school's own data securely, there's Azure AI Foundry.
Azure is Microsoft's cloud platform, right?
Yes. Azure AI Foundry lets institutions build custom copilots using powerful models like GPT, DLE for images, Whisper for speech, but trained or fine-tuned on their own internal data.
Ah, so it understands their specific context.
Exactly. Like the example of personalizing world language practice using AI that knows the school's curriculum. And crucially, it's all within Microsoft's secure enterprise environment.
It's quite an ecosystem. Can we talk about some real-world examples? The toolkit has this AI Navigator section. How are schools actually using this stuff?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
These stories really bring it to life. Let's start in Hong Kong with the Education University of Hong Kong Jockey Club Primary School. They built Gen AI chatbots using Azure OpenAI service to help with teaching and learning. And they saw real results. Like 65% of students found the math help useful. 60% liked getting faster homework feedback.
Faster feedback, that seems like a recurring theme. What else?
In Mexico, Tecnológico de Monterrey built something called TESIT, again using Azure OpenAI service with GPT-4o. It's an entire ecosystem.
Meaning
It does multiple things. Personalizes learning for students, helps faculty with creative tasks, and even handles administrative stuff like answering student questions about tuition or bus schedules. It's really integrated.
Okay. What about data privacy? That's always a big question.
Huge question. And the University of Sydney tackled it head on. They built their own AI assistant called Cogniti on their Azure platform. The key thing, it was designed specifically so that student prompts and the AI's responses stay confidential and aren't used to train outside AI models. That provides a strong model for privacy-conscious institutions.
That's a critical point. What about at a national level? Any examples?
Yes, the Indonesia Ministry of Education and Culture, they support over 50 million students, which is incredible, often with limited IT resources. They're using GitHub Copilot to make their IT team more efficient in coding and documentation. But they also have broader AI initiatives, like pilots using reading progress and their national teaching platform built on Azure OpenAI. It shows AI can scale.
So it's not just individual schools, but whole systems thinking about this.
Definitely. And you see proactive planning too. Like in the U.S., the Washington State Office of the Superintendent of Public Instruction, they've actually published official state guidance on AI for schools.
Like a roadmap.
Yeah, an implementation roadmap, guidelines for staff, for students. Providing that kind of structured guidance is really valuable.
And there was one more, a very relatable point from Wichita Public Schools in Kansas.
Ah, yes, the Sunday evening anxiety. Teachers there reported that using Microsoft 365 Copilot for tasks like lesson prep was saving them so much time, it actually reduced that familiar feeling of dread before the start of the week.
Wow. That resonates. Reducing teacher stress is a huge win.
It really is. It's a tangible benefit beyond just efficiency numbers.
Okay, so we have these powerful tools, these real-world examples, but underpinning it all has to be this idea of responsible AI. Microsoft talks about 6 principles.
That's right. Fairness, reliability and safety, privacy and security, inclusiveness, transparency, and accountability.
And they're not just principles on paper.
No, the claim is they're embedded into the platforms themselves. Tools and features designed to help users align with these principles.
But it's not just on Microsoft, right? The Toolkit talks about shared responsibility.
Absolutely. It's a partnership. Institutions using the AI have a responsibility too. That means things like regularly checking AI tools for fairness, watching out for bias, having clear policies about AI use that match the school's values and goals.
So how does the school actually do that? What are the steps? The Toolkit suggests starting with exploration and planning.
Yeah, basically getting everyone on board. Educating leaders, teachers, staff about what AI can do, the good and the challenges, and practical things like looking at your existing acceptable use policy. Does it need updating for generative AI? Probably.
Makes sense. Then data and infrastructure preparation, getting your house in order.
Exactly. And it's not just about having tons of data, but having good quality, diverse data. The toolkit mentions tools like Microsoft Fabric or Azure Synapse Analytics to help bring different data sources together.
And securing it all.
Crucial. Tools like Microsoft Purview for data governance, Microsoft Defender for security, Entra for identity management, Intune for device management. It's about having the right security and compliance layers in place before you widely deploy AI.
Okay, data sorted, security in place, then governance and policies.
Yeah, defining the rules of the road. Clear policies, standards for data quality, security, compliance, making sure your infrastructure is actually ready to handle AI securely. It's the ongoing management framework.
And then there's building trust with the community, parents, students. How do you address their concerns, especially around things like privacy, FERPA?
Transparency is key here. The toolkit points out how Microsoft solutions are designed to support regulations like FERPA, protect student data privacy through encryption and specific data handling policies, and respect intellectual property. Being upfront about these safeguards helps build confidence.
What about diverse learners? How does AI help ensure inclusivity?
That's a core part of responsible AI too. Microsoft's tools support many languages, over 100, with real-time translation. Educators can use Copilot or learning accelerators to adapt materials for different reading levels or languages.
Create custom explanations.
Exactly. Tailor explanations to specific student needs. Plus, leveraging built-in accessibility features, like screen reader compatibility. The goal is to use AI to personalize and make learning accessible to everyone.
Okay, this leads perfectly into a really practical skill. Prompt engineering. Getting good results from AI seems to depend a lot on how you ask, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's fundamental. To get the best out of Copilot or any generative AI, you need to give it clear, specific instructions. Vague questions get vague answers.
Like being a good director for an actor.
Yeah. Or like programming, in a way. The quality of your input dictates the quality of the output.
The toolkit breaks down a good prompt into 4 parts.
That's right. The goal. What do you actually want the AI to do? Like, review this policy and suggest improvements. The context. What background info does it need? This policy is for educators selecting new software.
Okay, goal, context, then source.
Yeah, where should it get the information? Use reputable educational websites and App Store reviews. And finally, expectations. How should it format the response? Keep it under 500 words, or create a table with columns for pros, cons, and cost.
That structure makes a huge difference. The example they give is asking for a 9th grade science lesson plan versus a super specific prompt about cellular respiration aligned to standards with timings, activities, differentiation.
And the difference in the output is night and day. The vague prompt gives you something generic, maybe useless. The detailed prompt gives you a starting point you can actually work with.
But even with a great prompt, you still need to check the AI's work, right? You mentioned fabrications earlier.
Critically important, always. AI is an assistant, not the final authority. You absolutely must review everything it produces for accuracy, check the facts, look for bias, ensure the grammar and style are right.
So the human is still very much in the loop.
Has to be. Think of it as a very smart, very fast intern. You still need to check their work before you use it.
So thinking bigger picture, what does all this mean for preparing students for the future? The workforce is changing because of AI.
It really is. It's not just about technical skills anymore. What employers are looking for is this blend of tech skills and what the Toolkit calls durable skills.
Durable skills, like what?
Critical thinking, emotional intelligence, problem solving, creativity, communication, learning how to learn, metacognition. And yes, things like prompt design are becoming actual skills.
So education needs to adapt to teach these skills alongside AI literacy.
Exactly. There's an urgency to update how we think about skills and curriculum to prepare students for a world where they'll be working with AI constantly.
And within schools themselves, it's about building that culture of responsible AI use.
Yes, and data literacy too. Making sure everyone from IT leaders to teachers in the classroom gets the professional development they need to understand and use these tools effectively and ethically. It's about building capacity across the institution.
And Microsoft emphasizes accessibility in all this.
They do. Their AI for Accessibility program is a big part of it. There are specific tools like Seeing AI, which narrates the world for visually impaired users, or custom neural voice for personalized synthetic voices. But even the core tools, like Copilot Chat, have accessibility built in. It can explain things visually with images, provide alt text, extract data in formats screen readers can use, translate, customize explanations. It's about using AI to lower barriers.
Okay, wow. We have covered a lot of ground today. From the sheer potential of AI in education to the specific Microsoft tools like the various copilots and learning accelerators, those real-world examples, the absolute necessity of responsible AI principles and planning, and even the practical skill of writing good prompts.
Yeah, hopefully listening to this gives you a real head start, that shortcut we talked about.
Yeah.
You've got the key insights, some concrete knowledge to help you navigate this, whether you're an educator, a leader, or just, interested in the future of learning.
So here's something to think about as we wrap up. We've talked about AI learning from us, assisting us. But here's a final thought. As AI continues to learn and evolve at this incredible speed, how might our partnership with it reshape our very understanding of what human intelligence is? Could it open up totally new ways of thinking, discovering, learning things we can barely even imagine right now?
That's a deep question. We definitely encourage you to think about how all these ideas we discussed apply in your own world, your own context, and keep exploring. This field is changing so fast.